Fran, did we get a final yes or no from Bob?
The last I heard, he said it was very doubtful.
Okay.
So I've got Heidi all set up. She knows what she needs to do. And I told her, I sent her the agenda, but I told her what was basically on it, which is Tom.
Yep. Just talking to him.
I wish Bob could be here because he's such a strong, keep everybody on target, especially since we don't know what's
Yeah.
gonna, but he probably wishes he could be there too.
Yeah.
All he said was there was another meeting that he was trying to change, but evidently wasn't going to be able to.
Okay, good to know. Yeah, that's the only item on. And then I had hoped that I was going to have Officer Rasul watch and listen, and his kids both got sick last night.
Oh no.
Yes, apparently both at around the same time.
Oh my. Oh
yeah.
One is bad enough, but both?
Yeah, both. Okay, well.
And you're not sure about Bob Hill?
I'm not sure. No, all I knew is definitively Tom is the only one who has said definitely yes. And then Bob's been put on the emails and has all the info. And then, Jeff was not able to make it, but says he's talked with Rasul in the parking lot and wants to be able to.
Okay. Cool.
But part of the solution means he wants to say, go ahead and allow him to park by the trash area.
Right.
And give me a couple parking spaces.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. I know Jeff. I went to high school with Jeff, so I understand.
Oh, you know what?
I just drove through the parking lot yesterday afternoon just because.
Mm-hmm.
And the little orange car was blocking up. If I had wanted to get past 8730, I wouldn't have been able to. And if I'd wanted, and I have a van, so if I'd gone all the way up there, it would have been extremely difficult to back out.
Typical.
So I didn't drive up there.
Yeah. Well, and I'm trying to remember, Olivia still has her braces. So we're still there kind of on a semi-regular basis. In fact, I think she must have an appointment coming up soon.
You probably do, right?
But whenever I'm in there, which again, it's like, I've been trying to do afternoons, just because they're only in school till 1. And then there's a little bit of virtual, but on certain days I can get her in. But anyway, we've been doing afternoons, and there's usually tons of space in the parking lot. No one's blocking when I'm there. Like none of the things that they're seeing, I'm not seeing.
You ever get to see?
Mm-mm.
I understand.
No, it's kind of crazy.
I remember. Well, it was late afternoon when I was doing this. So.
Well, and again,
Oh, I remember. I was coming back from Webster Pharmacy getting my second shot.
Oh, well, there you go. I'm printing out the agenda and minutes. I forgot to do that. Oh. There's Heidi.
Hi, Heidi.
Morning.
Morning, how are you?
I'm hanging in there. How are you?
Good. I was not able to print my agenda, just to let you know.
That's okay.
You'll have to guide me through it.
I will guide you through it. Not a problem.
Okay.
And we kind of laughed. I mean, literally the only thing on for today is Tom.
Oh.
So, I mean, we can then do a city update and then see where everybody is. But because the budget's still in that limbo space, the last I heard, you guys are still in the budget. But something might change in the next few weeks. And if it does, I'll let you know as soon as it does.
Okay.
I hope the weather stays nice.
I know. We're not expecting any freezes or anything, are we?
I don't think so. It just
Okay.
kept looking like it was going to keep getting pretty low at night, but not
Yeah.
low enough to freeze.
Okay.
I know Rolling Ridge posted yesterday, don't plant those annuals yet.
Yeah.
We got them and you can buy them, but it's still a little hard for them.
When should they get planted then?
Usually
They were
start
saying late April.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only thing I got out is pansies because they're the only ones that can handle it.
Right.
We've got a home soccer game this afternoon.
Ooh,
Ooh.
And then
Do they have to play with masks on?
they technically don't, but Olivia does. If she's right now, she's on JV and she's playing every minute of the game. So in playing every minute of the game, she does pull it down at a key point. She's a defensive player. But yesterday she was told she's probably moving up to varsity, maybe for the rest of the season in
wow.
goal.
Mhm.
She
Oh, wow.
she hasn't been playing goal all season.
Wow.
So
Nothing like getting the high stress job. Geez.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Varsity is right now 2-5. JV is 1-4-1. Yeah, neither of them are really. They didn't cut any girls. There's like 24 on varsity and there's like 25 on JV.
Mm.
Wow.
It's been pretty rough.
If I had to play a sport wearing a mask the whole time, we would be doing a live CPR event. You know? I don't know how these kids do it.
Olivia wore her mask for all of softball, except when she was catching, they didn't make them wear the mask because they had the big mask on.
Mhm.
So she played, but when she hit, when she ran the bases, everything, and she did in the park home runs with her mask on.
Wow.
So
Wow.
She did softball and club soccer, and they didn't have to wear it for club soccer. And then she did JV or C team basketball and JV basketball, and she wore her mask the whole time.
Wow.
Wow.
And then now she's been doing soccer, and she's one of the few. They're down to like maybe only 2 girls maybe there's 3 or 4 girls who wear their masks on the field.
Wow.
But yeah, after she's had a roll, like she's completely run back and saved the ball from, going in because she's the
Sure.
center defense. So she's been running back. When she runs back, sometimes after she's done that, she'll pull her mask down.
Yeah. Dang.
Yeah. And then they finally had their softball celebration because the varsity won state. She was
Wow.
on JV, but the varsity won state. And so, and the JV still did really well. They had 13 games in 16 days when they finally let them all go in the fall. So it was just game every single day. And they went 7-6 in the fall. So it wasn't bad.
Come such a long way. They didn't even have a softball team when I was in high school.
Yeah, and we had 3 teams. We
Yeah.
even have
And a lot of girls want to play.
Mm-hmm.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it is. So hopefully, I think, so this year she ended up on 3 sports, and then next year, hopefully she'll be on varsity in the fall for softball, and then we'll see about soccer. And I don't know if she's going to play basketball again. She was convinced by the softball coach, who's the C team basketball coach.
Funny how that works.
Yeah. Well, and the season had even started. She didn't try out, and she didn't go to any of the first practices. The season had started, and the C team coach was like, "Hey, Olivia, would you come play with us?"
Yeah, come on over here.
Come on over to the dark side.
Yeah.
And then basketball made it all the way to the finals at state too.
That's true, they did.
I don't think we're going to be lucky with soccer this year.
No. Maybe it's gonna be a build up the team year.
Mm. Hey, Kelly. Ugh. So Fran, besides Bob, we have everybody?
I never heard from Christy, but I usually don't, and she usually shows up, so.
Got it.
Morning.
Morning.
I'm gonna have to leave a little before 8:30. If I know that's not very long, but I have a work meeting I have to attend.
Don't worry. I think literally the only thing on the agenda is this one business owner coming to talk about parking issues.
Okay,
We probably would have canceled if we hadn't had him coming.
understood. Thanks.
And if there's anything, Sarah, I'll email you an update so that you have it for council.
I appreciate that.
Mhm. So Heidi, it looks like once Christy gets on, I see her coming on now,
Okay,
you have 4.
awesome.
And I know we're still expecting Josh and Chris. So you might want to wait a couple more minutes, but technically you have a quorum and could start.
Okay, I guess we'll wait a couple more to see if they come on.
Yeah. Yep, there's Chris.
things, and she still.
Hey, Chris.
Hey guys, how are you? I'm going on mute 1 second.
Okay,
So I know our 2 visitors are on, just letting the visitors know we are waiting for hopefully 1 more member, and then we will start our meeting.
I texted Joshua just in case.
Okay. Heidi, I'd suggest maybe one more minute and then go ahead and get started just because we'll be losing Sarah.
Okay, why don't we go ahead, Fran, and call the meeting to order.
Called to order at 8:05.
All in favor, or anybody wanna, do I have to motion to? Okay, so all in favor? Okay, Mara, we'll go ahead and call it to order.
So first is approval of the minutes.
Okay, can I get a motion to approve the minutes? Did everybody get their copy of the minutes?
Yes,
Okay,
motion. I approve.
all right, all in favor? Say aye.
Do we have a second? I missed it. Did
thought we-
anyone second the motion? Kelly, I heard was a first. I
Oh,
didn't
thought
hear a
Christie
second.
seconded. I'm sorry, Kelly. Anybody want a second approval of the minutes?
Second.
All right,
Thank you.
so second, all in favor? To
Aye.
approve the minutes, aye.
Aye.
Ask if there's any opposed.
Are there any opposed to the minutes? Sorry, Mara.
It's okay.
I always take this for granted because Bob does it. No one seems to be opposed, so the minutes are approved. All right.
So the next item on the agenda is visitor comments.
Okay.
I am going to switch over and allow Bob and Mr. Fettig to talk. Okay, so they are both on and able to speak.
Okay. All right. All right, so we have Bob Hill and Tom Fettig here to talk to us about the parking situation behind the buildings on this side of Big Bend, actually the side that I'm on. So either of you gentlemen can open it up and please talk to us. That would be great.
I'll begin. My name is Tom Fettig. I'm with Clinical Collection Management.
Mhm.
We're at 8730 Big Bend. And my ongoing concern is to comply with the signage, for parking, and at the same time operating a business that has, we've grown our business, and in the process of doing so, we found ourselves with additional vehicles. We've had a lot of different approaches that we've tried to for overnight parking, and currently we're in a position where the police officer who patrols that area has acknowledged to us that he understands our situation. He's familiar with the vehicles and has, pretty much given, just kind of turned his head toward any violation that's in there. We would like to find a way to make this a situation that would possibly be a permit that could be offered to business owners on that area who would have a reason to use one of those spaces overnight or two of those spaces. My technicians come and go throughout the day. They pick up a vehicle, they leave their vehicle there. And my concern is that due to the nature of our business, which is a lot of emergency responses, that they don't end up getting ticketed or towed. And so there's a little anxiety that's always there. And we've been in that building now for 24 years. And in that period of time, the last 3 years, well, saving last year was absolutely no traffic in that building whatsoever, on that parking lot, I should say, which indicated to an earlier concern, which was the abundance of cars that were parked there throughout the course of the day, which appeared to be people who were commuting, meeting up at that location, leaving their cars there for the day, and then commuting. I think what we're seeing today, pardon me, is that that's probably was the fact, because we're slowly seeing additional cars that show up in the lot and are parked there all day long. And they seem to be a rotating situation. I don't go into the office on a daily basis. I work a lot of my time is spent from remotely. So I can't attest to that, but we worked with Jeff down at the other end of the location, at the far end of the parking lot going to the west. He's allowed us to use his spaces gratis, so we were able to actually accommodate some of the smaller vehicles. We have Priuses and that type of vehicle. Then we jump from a Prius, which is a small vehicle, we don't know, to a van, which we need to have to be able to service our customers like Ameren and fire departments, et cetera, et cetera. So that's our situation.
How many vehicles do you need to park overnight? How many Priuses, how many vans?
We've moved in the actual parking lot of the city's lot. We have 3. We have 2 that really need to be parked illegally. The other vehicles, we've been able to work different angles and work with Jeff to park one of them down to his location. So reality wise, overnight, it's 2.
And are those both vans, or are they the Priuses, or what are they?
Yeah, one is a van and the other is a Prius.
Okay. And so are you specifically asking us for 2 spaces for just overnight parking? Is that what you're asking?
Well, we come and go. If one of my techs is called out and they leave their car, that we just need some way to use just to kind of reduce some of the anxiety that my techs encounter when they have to come into work, leave their car, and then grab one of our cars, because that's how this works out. And then are they going to get ticketed? So we're just trying to find a solution that would be ongoing. And overnight, certainly two ways to look at that is the 2 vehicles that describe. One's a van, which we're currently parking next to a solid structure for trash, and the other one we're parking somewhere on that lot. We've started to accommodate our techs a little easier, making so where they're starting to take cars home now, as opposed to leaving them there. But when they take one of our cars home, of course, they had to get to work. So that means one of their cars is now on that lot. So it's kind of what I say, just shuffling things around all the time.
So how many vehicles are you talking about altogether? Like, so how many techs are coming in and parking their cars on the lot all day?
It could be as many as 3.
So then you're really only asking for 3 parking spaces during the day and 2 parking spaces overnight?
Yes.
And how many parking spaces from those that you're requesting have you made arrangements with Jeff to use?
We have one space that we can use with Jeff.
And is that during the day or overnight?
Either or, he's fine with either or.
So then from the city lot, you're asking for 2 parking spaces during the day and 1 overnight then?
No, it's still in the evening. We have a total of 5 vehicles. And that's just the CCM vehicles.
So is that 2 white vans and 3 orange vehicles then?
Yes.
Isn't there a red one too?
The red one, well, I think that was rolled into the orange vehicles. It's 2 orange Prius and 1 tangerine Corolla. But it's red. It's shade of red.
And what are the, so the issue the other day that I encountered in the back lot was that there are orange vehicles with drivers in them that are not parked in a space, but they're backed into the driving lane. So they are located as if they're ready to drive out. You can help me out in direction here, Kelly, but they are backed into the driving lane between the trash receptacle and the business where Kelly is located. What we run into is that people come in either to go into the acupuncture place or into Kelly's place because they are patrons of those businesses, and they drive up into those locations thinking that they drive up back in there thinking that they can get a parking space, and they run into one of your vehicles who is sitting out in the middle of that driving lane there, and they are unable to get in there, and then they have to back all the way back down. So your vehicles during that time are not occupying the parking spaces. They're sitting right in the middle of the driving lane. Are you experiencing that, Kelly, back there?
My experience has been a lot of double parking, and it's almost seems as it's like a musical parking space thing going on there. I think where part of the disconnect is what's being reported from the workers is not is different than what's actually happening, because that is a huge problem. And you know, it's the acupuncture, myself, and even a massage therapist in 8730 works with clients with special needs. And just yesterday, somebody was forced to roll all the way up on their wheelchair from the Edward Jones building all the way to 8730 because he couldn't park where he needed to park because of double parking. So the double parking is a huge problem.
Correct. And at the same time, we still have persons that are actually employees that are working in Jeff's building that work there as employees, but are not using the parking spaces that are owned by Jeff. They are still using city lot parking spaces to park all day. So in the past, excuse me, in the past year, during the COVID, when things have calmed down because we didn't have a lot of parking, now all that is ramping back up again, and it is starting to rear its ugly head again because we have basically almost nobody parking in the spaces that belong to Jeff because all his employees are parking in city spaces. We have this going on up towards the end of the parking lot where Kelly is located, where you can't get any vehicles in and out up there because we have so many vehicles parking side by side up there, you know, getting ready to drive out of there. And we're getting back into the city lot behind my building and up near Kelly's building being totally occupied again. So, I mean, I still am in favor of enforcing the 2-hour rule because it just, you can't.
Yeah, clients have really started to complain about that. And, you know, it's what was so appealing about me moving here was the parking space in the back, and it really has become a problem. And, you know, I'd like to find a solution to it as well. and if it was, we only have 18 public parking spaces to share among a hair salon, Pilates studio, acupuncture, counseling center, your business, Heidi, and a chiropractor. And those are all service businesses where it's a destination for the customer or the patient or the client. And so we don't go to our clients, they come to us. And it's really, we have 18 spaces. I have 2 extra spaces. So, you know, of my personal ones, but that's all I have. And, you know, a lot of the businesses back there are health-based, which, you know, also can pose, well, they're all health-based when you actually kind of think about it, except for one. So, you know, I really would like to find a solution for this because it really has become a problem. And as businesses do ramp up, you know, which mine is starting to, which I hope everyone else is as well, it's going to become a bigger problem. So, and if it was a matter of taking just 2 parking spaces overnight, well, that's kind of a no-brainer, but it isn't. It just isn't. It almost seems like by the time we get the personal vehicles and the business vehicle, it's like 8 spaces are taken up, 8 to 10 spaces are taken up. So,
and not only that, are the 8 to 10 spaces being taken up for your business, sir, but it's also that we are compounded by the fact that we're running back into the problem with those people who are renting space from Just Building, like Edward Jones and stuff like that. Their employees are parking in the city spots, not in Jeff's property spots, which there are several spots around his building that they can park in and that have been empty all day long. Yet they are continuing to park in the city spots, even further compounding the problem. So we have issues on both ends of the parking lot where it gets super congested up by Bob's building. And then now we're starting to get congested by down the other end where you drive into the parking area because of employees in that other building using the city spots as their day-long parking spots.
there had been talk about the other lot over on Alma, since there are no restrictions on that lot.
Correct.
And I don't know if that has ever been entertained or where that is. You know, the other day I came out, I was blocked in, my client was blocked in because there was the windshield doctor double parked in front of the dumpsters, replacing a windshield on one of the orange cars. That could have been done in Alma.
Correct. And those drivers that drive the orange cars, perhaps they can park their personal cars in the Alma lot and come over and get their orange vehicles from this lot that have been parked overnight.
It might actually be closer to do that than to park, you know, in Jeff's lot. I mean, who knows? But yeah, so I mean, I'm interested in trying to find a solution for this.
Well, having heard a lot of the different, you know, situations that, of course, that I wasn't aware of. I'm not, unfortunately, I'm not trying to be flippant, but I don't police my lot, you know, behind the building. I try to direct my techs to park their vehicles across the street. We can certainly put that as a mandate, and that would make that, will alleviate that problem completely. So that's the first step I know we can make. Pardon me. The double parking, I will certainly put a memo to the effect that that is not acceptable. I had not seen that in the past, and like I said, we've been there for a little while at that in that space, so I had not seen that situation occur. I can understand a periodic where a tech ran in, forgot something, was leaving, but to intentionally park there for long periods of time, of course, is not an acceptable process. So either that's just not, it's not good, because that would eliminate people having access to the entry of the building, which is certainly nothing that we want to you know, contribute to. So those are the two situations that that you identified that we can certainly take immediate steps to rectify.
I appreciate that.
Sure.
There's another situation you might probably aren't aware of. A lot of times when these techs are double parked, doors are open, lights are on, and they're nowhere to be found. And
That's
that
right.
could be a safety hazard. So I just want you to know that. I'm sure that's not something that you want or advocate. So
No, that would, yeah, that's a absolutely unconscionable on their part. So that's will be addressed within the hour.
I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
So, and then I will get with Bob and maybe he can talk to Jeff again, or we can talk to Jeff about his employees parking back in their lot and see if we can work together as good neighbors and police our lot and police our employees and resolve the problem on our own first and see how this goes. But I don't think we have an issue with the overnight parking. It's the daytime parking that's become a huge issue, especially with the clients up at Kelly's End, because they have some pretty serious issues that they need to get in and out of the places of business for their appointments. And they are usually compromised patients that need to get in there. So.
Well, I appreciate that your committee has taken the time to allow me to, explain, and then also for me to be able to learn as to, what the situation actually looks like from another view. So we'll take all the steps that are necessary from my end that I can, which are considerable, and we'll move forward from that position. And I appreciate the idea that the evening and after hours lot has doesn't seem to be a major delay in getting a van and a car there. That would make it easy. We'll also be sure that our techs are aware that that lot is across the street is the lot to use. Do not park their cars in the lot behind our building. So I think that's one of the other steps that needs to be addressed immediately as well. And you're correct, it's not any further to walk from the end of Bob's or to the end of Jeff's lot to from across the street to the building that we occupy.
Okay.
Well, thank you. I appreciate any efforts you can make.
Well, I'm happy to do it. All I need to have is enough information to work from. So I believe I've acquired that this morning. So I appreciate that very much.
Awesome.
If you don't need me anymore, I'm sure you have other business to take care of. And again, have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll sign off.
You're on mute.
Yeah, Mara, you're muted.
Sorry, Bob has his hand up asking to speak. I had originally unmuted him. I've asked him to unmute. He needs to unmute himself if
Right.
he wants to speak. Oh, there he is.
Okay, yeah, I was just there to support Tom, and I'm glad you all brought up things that neither one of us was really aware of. But hopefully he can get those things solved, and thank you for your help. So,
Yep.
Thank you.
all right,
you.
bye bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, Mara, any updates?
Basic city updates. I'm not going to go through on the minutes. There's all of those businesses. We're still working with all of them to open up. Union Bagel's working on their location and space. We have some code amendments before the city council in regards to single family residential and two family. It had a hearing at the last meeting with council and is being continued. The redevelopment area north of Old Webster, which has the name Douglas Hill from the developers, that has been turned into the city. We're going to start our staff review. Probably the earliest it will go for a public hearing before Plan Commission would be June. But we're trying to work through that right now. If anyone wants to look at the submittal, it has been put, even though there's no staff report with it, it has been uploaded onto the city's website. So that one is moving along.
Is that the area by Kirkham right there? on the
Yep,
other
so it's
side?
from Kirkham to Pacific, Rock Hill to Gore. So yeah, that general area.
I had not kept up. Had it moved forward? Had they gone through with the 7-story or the 3-story buildings?
So it's not a 7-story or a 3-story. So there is because of the hill, on certain sides of the building, you will see more than on others. Because of the hill, some of it will be parking garages below grade. So on one side, as you were down at Kirkham looking up the hill, you would see in some cases 4, 5, 6 stories. And then on the other side, you would see less. If anyone has a little bit of free time, they actually have put the model at City Hall. So up in the lobby, we still haven't really done a formal announcement of that it's there and things like that because we just got it in place, but there is a model that you can come see in the lobby of City Hall. And then there are pictures of the model as well as renderings in the packet online on our city website. Actually, you know what? I'm going to share. Hold on. I'm going to share. Bye, Sarah. Thanks. Hold on just a second. I'm going to get the city's website on so that I can share the link. So here's the city's website, and actually there is a thing that rotates through different things. But if you come here and go to redevelopment project, there's a series of links, and one of them says Douglas Hill zoning submission. And when you click on that, you will get a pretty enormous PDF with all of the items that they've submitted. It includes a traffic study, some of the information related to floodplain, engineering. So there's 80 pages, including the application. Let me get you down to, so here's the information that Chris, you were just asking about in regards to height. Sorry, got to zoom it over. Because you've got a series that's under the ground in terms of parking garage, and then levels that are above. And then when you eventually come over in this direction, so this is the Novus building right here across the railroad tracks. So height wise and elevation wise, it's pretty much the same height as you get along here because of the grade changes. So they have submitted some cross sections. They've submitted renderings along the street. This is a site plan. So you've got the railroad tracks up here. You've got Rock Hill along here. You've got Gore and Kirkham down here. This is the sculpture park. And again, I have not done my review yet at all, but there's a series of buildings which include mixed use, some townhouses down here along Kirkham, the church remaining in place, and an extension of this park area for a public area that could be used for concerts and events and other things as part of the city. There's a primary street that goes down the middle, with more secondary service streets along the railroad track side. They did do a series of images using some examples of what some things would possibly look like. This is the model that's currently at City Hall that you can come and view. And then for anyone, they've done a number of images sort of using the model. And then the parking garage is actually kind of underneath the street in some cases. So the parking garage area is below ground and underneath some of the parts of the buildings. There is a full traffic study in here, which talks about numbers. And then there is a floodplain report at the end related to some of the flooding issues. FEMA issues, they'd have to go through FEMA in order to make some of the changes that they are proposing. So the next step on this is that we would advertise for a full public hearing before the Plan Commission. That would probably stay with Plan Commission for multiple meetings over a couple months. Then based on whatever determination that the Plan Commission has, it would go to hearings before the City Council. All of this is to rezone to a planned commercial zoning, which would be a site-specific zoning, which would have regulations on how tall can they go, how many units may they have, how much parking do they need to provide, what do they need to do in terms of traffic improvements. So all of those items get put together in a site-specific ordinance. Sorry, go ahead.
And Mara, I'm looking at the model that they built, and I'm looking at slide 29. Are they, I guess the devil is in the details for me, because this could either look like the Boulevard in Brentwood, or it could look like Pruitt-Igoe. I mean, it looks like it could go either way, depending on how they build the buildings, how they look, how attractive they are, how they blend in.
So just a couple things, because I know I've heard that Pruitt-Igoe references going through the Community Connect.
I've never heard it before. I literally just thought it. I've never ever heard any. I looked at that, and that's the first thing I thought.
So there's two different elements to this. One is this model is simply, and when it comes to zoning, this is simply us trying to figure out massing, numbers. Is this too big? Is this big enough? What do you need to provide if you want to build this? Now, what would happen after this? After a rezoning, they would come to the Architectural Review Board for each individual building. And the intent is not that this is all being built at once. It is that you put in the infrastructure, and then you have different, people coming in and building the building. So that's a very big difference from something like a development that is built all at once by the same architect with the same design. So the model was done in such a way that they actually have these little fronts along here are actually just a piece of paper with an image, and you can take them off because architecturally, these will all come before the Architecture Review Board as different buildings in different phases potentially.
And I guess where I was struggling was, if you look at the Lockwood area down there, when we lost years ago, when we lost that area where the bank is, where it's all glass, that building right by the Webster Kirkwood Times across from CJ Muggs, whatever that bank building is there.
Oh, yes, US Bank.
It just doesn't seem to fit. And it seems like it's gross. And I'm very, you know me, because you can look at my property, I'm a little nuts about stuff, but I look at like the new development that we just put in across from the library, or real close, the new apartments. And honestly, it just looks blah. It's flat faced. There's no Webster in it. It just looks like it could be anywhere. So I was just worried that we were going to put up really bland, boring, not architecturally pretty. I don't know. I just didn't want to become Clayton. That's all.
Sure. So what I'm going to recommend is, one, please watch for our hearing dates. I will send them out to everyone. We probably will start with Zoom, and then we might need to move on to hopefully at some point in-person meetings. But we are asking people to give that feedback about any questions or concerns, but do know it would go through the Architecture Review Board in regards to the look. In addition, as we put things in place for the requirements, there are ways we can look at, and we're not sure if this is the direction that the city is going to go in, but when you put the ordinance in place that governs it, there are some ordinances that can be put in place that talk a little bit more about the architecture, other than just saying, go to the Architecture Review Board. So
okay.
I have examples. I've written some of those for when I was working with Chesterfield. When I was working with Chesterfield, we did what it's called a form-based code. And you can create a code that says, you should have front stoops, and you should have balconies, and you should have these kinds of elements that are on the upper floors and things like that. So we are still looking at that and how we would write that code. But please encourage people to come and watch the hearings when they happen. The earliest date it would be June 7th is the earliest date that we're going to be looking at. If it does go June 7th, We will have ads in the Webster Kirkwood Times in probably would be like May 14th, May 21st newspapers. In addition, because of the way that we do have to notify for rezonings, there will be a sign on every piece of property frontage. So there's going to be like 12 signs along Pacific and like 6 signs along Gore. And so there's going to be a whole bunch of signs because we are required by law to put a sign on each individual property with their frontage. So it's going to be kind of interesting as we kind of take care of all of that.
Yeah, I'm fine with any development. All I want was just to keep the coolness of Webster, because the downtown areas are so unique and different and pretty and interesting, and just not to make it bland, crazy, and built up for no reason. So that was it.
Sure. No, I get that. Trying to think of any other updates. So that definitely stay on top of that for those that can. We'll be continuing to work with that. All of the other businesses that are coming in, which Union Bagel, Le Macaron, DD Mao, Wingstop, Amy's Cake Pop Shop and Boozy Bites, the Total Access Urgent Care. We're also getting a Zushi. It's a sushi restaurant down in Yorkshire Plaza. That's probably the only one that's not on the list. We also did have our first hearing for multifamily being an approved use in C and D zoning districts. That went to its first opening before the Plan Commission. That was to help with if someone wanted to rezone a property right now and said, hey, I want to build a 2-story building and I want apartments above some retail. Currently, it's not an automatically approved use, although it's kind of a natural fit with the way we have Webster. And so we were talking about changing the code to, so that they didn't have to go through a full process if it was already basically as a C or D zoning. So C or D is the confines of Old Webster that are already zoned D, some areas of Old Orchard, some areas along Watson are the primary places that are already C and D. So we're working through that with the Plan Commission. It was continued to the next meeting. So we've got those going on. I know that Prop 1 did not pass. I know that the City Council is going to look into, things they can do better and things that they might do to put it back onto a future vote. I know for those that had not seen already, the city, it should be in the newspaper, but I know it's on the Webster Kirkwood Times. The city has hired Jennifer Starkey from Webster University to be our, and I'm gonna butcher what the title is. They have a new social media, community engagement, all of that rolled into one person at the city. She'll be starting in May. And she'll be kind of coordinating between all the business districts and things on social media and talking about community participation, a lot of that information. So you'll see that in the Webster Kirkwood Times. Trying to think of anything else right now to share. I think that's it, unless anyone has any questions of anything that they've been dying to know.
I just want to know, did Lona's make it or not?
So Lona's is still in a holding pattern. They did not go to Plan Commission. I'm going to check in with him again and say, hey, are you going, or is this completely no longer going to happen? I think it's more related to some personal things that are going on with them than our location or us. And they've said that multiple times. So
Okay.
Nothing yet on Lona's, sorry.
I'm good with it.
But we'll have new sushi, new Vietnamese, cake pops, a little Boozy Bites, some bagels.
A lot of carbs.
Some macarons. Yeah. And the fire station still is under construction, and the Hickson Middle School is finishing up their construction. I feel like, and I'm hiring an additional new inspector. So that should be going out pretty soon because we're slammed. we're so busy, we need more inspection help.
Also, Mara, on the website, does it have all, I just saw the other day, I must have zoned out about all the golf cart regulations. Is there on the Webster site, does it have all the rules?
I don't know if it does have on all the rules. I know that you do have to schedule an appointment with the police department because they do some sort of inspection and they give you a sticker or some sort of something for your vehicle that you are able to be on the streets.
Okay.
So I would suggest calling the non-emergency number, which I need to write the non-emergency number down somewhere.
Oh, it's A-okay. I don't have one yet. I've started to see them everywhere and I thought that's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's a limitation on, you can't be on roads over, I want to say 25 miles an hour. Or 30, there's a whole series of things. You do have to have the turn signals and there's a few things that you have to have on the golf cart. And you have to have a driver's license, can't have the 14-year-old driving it, kind of thing. And follow the basic rules of the road. And there is a sticker. I know. I stopped paying attention after that.
That's fine. Thank you.
Yes. If no one has anything else, I know Jeff had said he apologized he could not be on this one in terms of the parking discussion. I will let him know. Heidi, did you want to talk with him?
Yeah, I think I'll get with Bob and one of the two of us will talk to him about it.
Okay.
He's probably just unaware.
That's fine. That sounds good. And then he had just asked for an update once we knew what was going on and he would like to help.
Okay.
So we'll see where that goes.
All right. And when is our next meeting date?
Our next meeting date is Thursday, May 20th.
Okay,
How does everybody look for that?
I'm good to go on that.
Awesome. We will be seeing what our options are going to be in terms of starting to go from virtual back to in person.
Okay.
For a little while now, I mean, we'll see how everybody feels and how comfortable they are. My staff is almost fully vaccinated. I'm kind of down to just one last person, but my staff is fully vaccinated as of this week. And so we are trying really hard to get everybody at City Hall vaccinated. But that still doesn't necessarily mean that, bringing everybody in person into some of our rooms is the best idea. And I know in some cases this has been actually easier. I've been getting more attendance at meetings because people actually don't have to get here and then get back for meetings. So we'll just see how it all goes. I can't do a combination. I can't do part in person and part virtual because we just don't have that computer ability. But for now, if we can, we'll just stay for a few more months like this, if that's okay.
Okay.
Great.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, can I get a motion to adjourn if there's nothing more?
Motion to adjourn.
All right, Chris's motion.
Is
Well-
Christy has her hand up. I don't know oh, that's okay. Maybe she was motioning to adjourn.
All right, anybody want a second?
That's second.
Okay, and all in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? All right, we'll see you all in May.
Thanks
All right,
all.
see you later.
Stay
Thank
safe.
you.
Alrighty. Thanks, Mara. Thanks, Fran.
Bye.